Dear children, good morning. Today I am going to teach you fifth lesson entitled The Summit Within. Usually, common people used to say climbing Everest is highly impossible. Going around the world is not at all possible. But some men disproved the beliefs of the common people. Tenzing Hillary and his team had climbed and reached the highest peak. Even a woman, Pachendri Pal, also attained her goal. You know very well, Columbus went around the world. So, converting impossible into possible is possible. What is it? Converting impossible into possible is possible only when we have determination, dedication, and devotion. You know, the lesson, The Summit Within, is an extract from the autobiography of Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. H.P.S. Ahluwalia. Ahluwalia. Ahluwalia, who was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. The narrator tries to give the answer for the eternal question, why do men like to climb Everest or any mountain? Now, let me read the lesson. Listen carefully. Imagine you are also standing in the peak of the world, Everest. It is the highest point in Himalaya. You are standing with Edmund Hillary, Tenzing, and Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. Imagine. Okay, you are all standing. Of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest, looking over miles of panorama below us, the dominant one I think was humility. This line, the word surged through, that means a feeling arose suddenly and intensely inside the narrator when he was on the summit of Everest. Okay? He was able to see a panorama, that is a wide view. The physical in me seemed to say, thank God, it's all over. Yes, successfully they reached the highest point of the world. However, instead of being jubilant means very happy because of that success. Instead of that feeling, pleasant feeling, there was a tinge of sadness. You know, it is a small piece of sadness or trace of sadness. Tinge means a small shade of sadness. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing and there would be nothing higher to climb and all roads hereafter would lead down? What do you mean by ultimate? Ultimate means the best or greatest achievement. So all of them were standing at the summit of Everest. That is the peak point of the world. Second paragraph. So first paragraph describes the feeling at the summit. By climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed by a deep joy and thankfulness. What do you mean by overwhelmed? O-V-E-R-W-H-E-L-M-E-D. Overwhelmed means overpowered by a deep sense of joy. Two feelings. One is pleasure and thankfulness. It is a joy which lasts a lifetime. The happiness will ever living. The experience changes you completely. Ordinary man will become extraordinary Superman. When you are standing at the highest point, the man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. When you are in the city, you are a man. When you achieved something great, you are becoming a Superman. That's what the feeling. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind. No less formidable and no easier to climb. Formidable means large and powerful. Of course, the Major and others climbed Everest, but he was thinking about another summit, that is mind. Everyone's mind is the next summit. Next paragraph, you can have a title, Why Do Men Climb Mountain? Just with a pencil you can write on the top, Why do men climb mountain? Even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion had gone, exhaustion means tiredness, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It was already a thing of the past. Something done yesterday. With every passing day, it would become more remote. And then what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? All these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. That means everyone in his area asks, why do people get interested in climbing mountain? Why people climb mountain is the question. It is not easy to answer the question. The simplest answer would be, as others have said, because it is there. The mountain is there, very tall, very high. So naturally, we human beings get interest to go to the summit. It presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming the obstacles. Obstacles means difficulties, hurdles, impediments. Of course, a climb to a summit means endurance, persistence and willpower. Endurance means ability to tolerate. Persistence means fact of continuing in opinion, one opinion, not changing the mind, and willpower. The demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt exhilarating, as it was for me also. Exhilarating means very much excited, very happy. I have a more personal answer to the question. From my childhood, I have been attracted by mountains. So, Major was very much interested. The mountain allured him. Attracted means allured the Major from his childhood. I had been miserable. Miserable means somewhat lost, sad, lost when away from mountains. He felt very sad when he was away from the mountains in the plains. Mountains are nature at its best. In nature, we can see so many beautiful things. Mountains are the biggest and great. That's what he is feeling. Their beauty and majesty pose a great challenge. And like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. When we climb such big mountain, we can have a conversation with Almighty God. So that paragraph says, reason for climbing. You can write with a pencil, reason for climbing. Once having granted this, the question remains, why Everest? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. Defied means resisted. It takes the last ounce of one's energy. That means many people tried and failed. So it is giving a great challenge. It is a brutal struggle with rock and ice. Climbing is not simple. It's a brutal struggle, very, very dangerous and cruel struggle with rock and ice. Once taken up, it cannot be given up halfway, even when one's life is at stake. So that means once you have decided to climb, you cannot leave it in the halfway, even your life is at stake. What do you mean by underline that? At stake, A-T-S-T-A-K-E. At stake means in danger, at risk. Though it is very much risky, you will be continuing. The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. Of course, not climbing alone. Coming down, descending is also very, very difficult and dangerous. And then, when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration. That is a joy. In another word, you can say ecstasy. Simple form of happiness. Happiness, pleasure, joy. There are so many synonyms. Exhilaration is ecstasy. The joy of having done something great. The sense of a battle fought and won. There is a feeling of victory and of happiness. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. I experience a change within myself, which can only be called mystical. It is kind of a spiritual exercise. You know, many sannyasis, samyas, saints used to climb on the mountain. They want to communicate with the Almighty. By its beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, and the difficulties encountered on the way, encountered means met. On the way, the peak draws me to it, as Everest did. It is a challenge that is difficult to resist. We are unable to say no. We are always ready to accept the challenge. The first line, it is given mystical, that means spiritual. That is why sages, hermits, sannyasis used to climb Himalayas. Looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. It is like answering a question, why you breathe? Nobody can answer, am I right? Why you breathe? Why you drink? Why you eat? Why you live? No answer. Like that, climbing Everest is equal to him as why we breathe. That means it's very essential. Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. There is no answer for all these questions. Why do you help your neighbor? No answer. Why do you want to do good acts? No answer. Like that, why do you climb Everest? No answer. Because the mountain is there, it is giving us a big challenge. Normally, men are adventurous. And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to the mountain top becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. Of course, after climbing any big mountain, we feel when we are standing at the mountain peak, we feel seeing the large sky and the large landscape, we feel that we are very, very small in this large universe. Naturally, our ego, our pride and everything will shatter into pieces. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. There is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. There is the satisfaction, underline the word satisfaction, of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventures in man. That's what already is said. Every man is adventurous. He wants to do some adventurous act. You are cycling, you are riding on a cycle, you are driving motorcycle. All these things are act of adventure. So like that, some of them want to climb a big mountains. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. Next paragraph, with a pencil you can write, struggle while climbing. What type of struggle they are taking? Consider a typical climb towards the summit. On the last heights, you are sharing a rope with another climber. It's a companion. You firm in. Firm means you are making yourself strong with the rope and you are helping your companion. He cuts the steps in the hard ice. Then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim, of course. It's very, very dull sometimes. You are tired sometimes. You strain every nerve as you take every step. It is very, very risky. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help, else they might have given up. If your companion is not helping, definitely your achievement will be nothing. You cannot even achieve. Breathing is very difficult. These are all the difficulties. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. Sometime while climbing, after facing all the difficulties, breathing trouble, you may be afraid. All these things make yourself think, why I have selected climbing. You wonder why you ever undertook the ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of going up. But almost at once you snap out of that mood. There is something in you that does not let you give up. 1 minute you may think, let me leave this, let me go down, I don't want to climb. All these feelings will go around in your mind. But there is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle. And you go on. It means you will be continuing. Your companion keeps up with you just another 50 feet or 100. Maybe these are all the hopeful thinking. You ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other. And then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. Same type of experience will be there with every person who climbs even a small mountain. I have got. Whenever I climb Sabarimala, I used to feel when this climbing will come to an end, because we will be having lot of breathing problem and we will be feeling very, very tired. So these are all the experiences of everyone who and all try to climb any mountain. Next you can write next paragraph, topic vision at the summit. or when they reached the summit, what they did at the peak. Come on, let us see what they did at the peak. Looking around from the summit, you tell yourself that it was worthwhile. Of course, it's not simple thing, it is valuable. Worthwhile means valuable. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on the silvery peaks. The surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. It is a beautiful description of the surrounding by the Major. Below, you can see vast valleys sloping into the distance. It is an ennobling, enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You bow down and make your obeisance. Obeisance. Obeisance means so your honest humbleness. You will be very, very humble and you are going to thank God, to whichever God you worship. Definitely you are bending yourself and so your submission. You will submit yourself to God. You bow down. I am reading the sentence again. When you are at the peak, you bow down and make your obeisance to whichever God you worship. Here, what these climbers have done. Major says, I left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. He is the devotee of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of goddess Durga. Rawat is another climber. He is a Hindu. He left a picture of goddess Durga at the peak. Bu Dorji, another climber, left a relic of Buddha. Edmund Hillary, a Christian, had buried a holy cross under a cane, that is heap of rocks and stones in the snow. These are not symbols of conquest, but of reverence. They are not keeping those symbols, not as they have captured. Conquest means captured, but of reverence, that is respect. The experience of having climbed to the summit changes you completely. After climbing, that will change us. Definitely that will change your mind. You will become very, very humble and simple. There is another summit. Here the writer talks about another climbing. Another summit, it is within yourself. It is philosophical thought. It is in your own mind. Each man carries within himself his own mountain peak. He must climb it to reach to a fuller knowledge of himself. Of course, it is also fearful and unscalable. It cannot be climbed by anyone else. When you want to climb in your own knowledge, your own mind, others cannot climb. Am I right? That is what, it cannot be climbed by others, anyone else. You yourself have to do it. You have to scale, you have to climb within your mind. That is travel inside you. It's a highly philosophical. You yourself have to do it. The physical act of climbing to the summit of a mountain, of course, in a way outside, is akin to the act of climbing the mountain within. The effects of both the climbs are the same. It's very difficult. Climbing Everest is difficult and climbing inside your mind is also difficult. Both are equal, akin to that. The effects of both the climbs are the same. Whether the mountain you climb is physical or emotional and spiritual, the climb will certainly change you. It teaches you much about the world and about yourself. So the last paragraph, that is conclusion. I venture to think that my experience as an Everester has provided me with the inspiration to face life's ordeals. Of course, after climbing After facing all the greatest difficulties of life, his mind is ready to face any type of painful experience. Ordeals, O-R-D-E-A-L-S, ordeals means painful experience. His mind is ready to face. Resolutely means having determination to face any type of difficulties. Climbing the mountain was a worthwhile, valuable experience. The conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. That is conquering our own mind, favoring mind. That is very important. The internal summits are perhaps higher than Everest. It is purely, the last line is purely philosophical. Climbing on any mountain, either Everest or whatever the mountain, is in a way easier, but climbing in our own mind and winning our thoughts, winning our emotions is very, very difficult. That we must do. That is the end of the lesson written by Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. Go through the lesson. After this learning, you can open my first PDF to copy down the synonyms and antonyms, and you can open my second PDF and take down the question answers given there. All the best.